Hello YouTube, I'm Michael Morgan. This is Retro Book Reviews. Thanks for joining me today. Today I'm going to be reviewing Quiet, The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking by Susan Cain. Before we get into the review, just make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, hit that like button on this video, share this video. If you have suggestions for books you would like to see reviewed, just drop a comment below, or you can email us at retrobookreviews@gmail.com. Hey, it's estimated that 1/3 to 1/2 of all people are introverts. So chances are you know somebody who is an introvert. Now, you may have come across that term, introvert, and its counterpart, extrovert, at some point. Yeah, just they give you just some basic personality traits of what an introvert is. An introvert is somebody who may prefer a quiet night at home as opposed to going out to a loud, crowded club. Introverts are often people who are labeled as being shy or quiet. Introverts are people who just really crave peace of mind and solitude. And they're perfectly fine with retreating into their own mind, whether it's getting lost in a book or maybe watching a documentary about a subject they find fascinating. And then extroverts, on the other hand, they tend to be the more outgoing types. Extroverts are the kind of people who can draw energy from being in a crowd of large people. Say if you're going to an NFL game and there's 70,000 people there, so oftentimes extroverts just really enjoy that energy that crowd gives off. But of course, no one is 100% introverted or extroverted, because there are times introverts we do leave the house, and there are times that extroverts they need to wind down and recharge their batteries as well. And just personal disclosure, I'm an introvert, and my wife is an introvert as well. And Susan Cain is also identifies as an introvert, and she discusses how it took her 7 years to write Quiet. And it's reading parts of this book, that you really do get a sense of the journey that Susan Cain went on when she was writing the book, as she goes through various social situations, as she interviews numerous experts in their field. I mean, she just does such a masterful job of bringing the reader along for the ride. And when I first read Quiet about 5 years ago, I found it deep and profound and even life-changing. And then as I was rereading it a second time for this review, I mean, not only were my initial discoveries reinforced, I came away with an even deeper understanding of my introversion and how I respond to the world around me. And I would also encourage you to watch Susan Cain's TED Talk on the power of introverts. It's on YouTube as well. I encourage you to check that out. And then Cain writes early on in the book, introversion, along with its cousins, sensitivity, seriousness, and shyness, is now a second-class personality trait, somewhere between a disappointment and a pathology. And just that statement itself, that spoke volumes to me as an introvert, because I can't count the number of times throughout my life when people would comment about how shy I was, or how quiet I was, or as perceived as being socially awkward, or that I needed to be more bold, that I needed to come out of my shell. I mean, if I had $1 for every time someone said something like that to me, I'd probably be on an island right now. And then Cain in her book, she really imparts a really historical approach to the study of introversion. And she describes this cultural shift, that took place in the early part of the 20th century, where American culture was initially based around a culture of character. You had stereotypical stoic people who lived out their ideals. Think of who may not have been the most assertive or bold personalities, as somebody as like an Abraham Lincoln. But as society changed, as people moved away from the from the farms and the rural life and moved into the cities, we went from a culture of character to a culture of personality. And of course, even a century in the 21st century, we still see this as well, where the loudest voices, get the most attention. It doesn't mean that they have the best ideas or they're the smartest people, but they're making the most noise, and everybody hears them. And it's, as the saying goes, a squeaky wheel gets the grease. And the terms introvert and extrovert were originally coined by the psychiatrist Carl Jung in 1921. And throughout Quiet, Cain tells the stories of famous introverts such as Rosa Parks, Eleanor Roosevelt, and Steve Wozniak, who's the co-founder of Apple Computer. And Cain spends a great deal of the book interviewing various experts in their fields of research, which it really gets into the psychology and brain science of introversion, which I found very fascinating. Now, Cain also illustrates the differences between personality and culture as well. And then also, besides famous people, Cain uses real life examples of people that she's also interviewed. There's a section about personality and culture. There's a chapter on that. There's also a chapter on introvert relationships, especially if you have someone who's introverted and you're in a relationship with someone who's an extrovert. Ways that both people in a relationship can give a little bit. Because you often you have the extroverted person who wants to go out, do stuff all the time, be around people. Let's have a party. Let's have this. Let's have that. And sometimes the introvert, doesn't want to do that all the time. So there's a great advice in the book on how to navigate through that in a relationship. And there's even sections about how parents and teachers, can help their introverted children. Because oftentimes if you have a quiet kid at home, sometimes the parents may think something's wrong with the kid. Why are you not acting like the other children? And then of course in school, introversion can be seen as being a detriment as well. And it's just there's a good example sometimes with the group work. Whether it's at school or at work. Some introverts may not be comfortable with that, but it could just be a matter of trying to encourage them to find their place in the group. You may not want to give your ideas, but you could volunteer to take notes, during the meeting or on the project. You may be able to go out and do the research. If you ever, if you're, whether you're an introvert, you love an introvert, or you just simply know someone who's introverted, or you work with somebody who's an introvert, even if you yourself are an extrovert, I recommend that you read Susan Cain's Quiet, because it's a very insightful book. It'll help you, connect so many. It'll help you connect so many dots, and it'll give you a deeper understanding certainly of your personality, but it may also help you understand the personality of a loved one. So I encourage you to get your hands on this book, watch your TED Talk. Thank you for joining me today, and God bless.